The search continues. Have I got it yet? Let's try again after the titles. Everybody, Anthony Dodge, Märklin Outsider, the Märklin Outsider, a night of the rhomboid table here with a long delayed video. I've been in the middle of a major home remodeling project and I have been away from YouTube. Back in Germany in June, I picked up one of my long sought after dream rakes, which was a Orient Express 8-car set, but it needed a Loco. And anybody who follows this channel knows about 5 weeks ago I bought a Loco from Loco that is actually a model of a Loco that would have pulled these cars. Unfortunately, the Loco was very underwhelming. It just struggled with everything. It was new, but it had been sitting in the shop for 3-4 years unused, and it was one of the biggest disappointments I've had since I started doing first impression videos, and really one of the biggest disappointments in my entire model train hobby. So I've continued to look, and the best I could come up with is this one. I picked this up a couple of weeks ago, but I haven't messed with it until today, other than I loaded it into my computer a couple of weeks ago, but it's never been run in. It hasn't been run in as I'm sitting here talking. I'm about to run it in, but that's why I like to do these as first impressions. Anyhow, this is model number 39244. It is a French 241 or 482. This is an SNCF, French Era 2. This is a Series 13 locomotive. And these came out later in the Era 2, right before World War II, the late 20s, early 30s. And these were high-speed passenger trains, but they didn't pull the Orient Express. 241s did pull the Orient Express along with 231s and some German Class 18s, which are also 231s, Pacifics. But these guys pulled northern routes. They ran high-speed traffic from northern France into Belgium, the Netherlands, northern Germany, up to Denmark, etc., or whatever their routes were. So I found this at, this is a hard to find model, and you can find it, but people tend to ask extraordinary prices. I got this one for about what it came out with when it was released, about the price. This was a expensive model when it came out, and I paid a little bit more because when you see these, they're asking a ton of money and they usually get a ton of money. So I just went with it because it's built basically on the same chassis and motor as the Locomotive that Märklin released to go with that group of cars I had. So those cars came out in 2021, 2022. This Loco came out in 2022, 2023. This one is used. Listed as like new condition, but had been used and has been run in. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at it, and then we're going to run it, and if I have time, I will stick the Orient Express cars on it and see how it handles those. All right, so now I've moved this on to what I call my testing track, which is run by a mobile station. Now, I have two types of mobile stations, but they're the same thing. They're called an MS2, Mobile Station 2. There is the gray colored one, and then the more recent black colored. There's absolutely no difference between them. Now, what I have to do is get this to an empty space. So bear with me while I do that. I have to hit Shift. So now it's on no Loco. And as soon as I hit the stop button off, in other words, turn it on, We'll wait the same commensurate amount of time, somewhere between 10 and 15 seconds. And it's reading the decoder, so we didn't even have to wait that long. And bam, there it is. All loaded up, all functions in, ready to go. Okay. I have the Loco here on line 3. This Loco comes in at 576 grams. That's a pretty hefty locomotive. Hopefully it's got a lot of pulling power. It has 27 light and sound functions. So we got the light functions. Very distinct whistle there. Oh, that's a high-pitched one, isn't it? This comes with factory installed smoke unit. All right, so we'll turn that off. I don't go through all the functions. So let's take a look at it. This is in the Northern Lines, very all black. Nice gold piping trim on the boiler. Very nice applied pipe detailing. By the way, piping is the gold stripes. Very sharp Loco. This is just another amazing Märklin production. This did have a limited run. It's a one-time release, which I think is kind of funny that they call it that, considering that it really is just obviously some slight additions in terms of how they do the piping and such, but it really is the same chassis as the locomotive they released a year or two earlier to go with that Orient Express set. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this in a bit because even though they said it's used, you don't know how long it's been since it's been run, and I'm going to give it just a little bit of a run in. All right, it's been running in about 10 minutes. Quiet and smooth at slow speed. Okay, we've run it in for about 15 minutes each way, about half of the normal, half an hour each way. But we're going to go ahead and give it its full loop test on line 3 here and go to the incline test. So let's see how it handles it. All right, here it comes around the turn. It's coming up to the start of the incline. It starts right about that turnout there. it's right in this area where a lot of my models start to struggle. But that looked pretty smooth. All right, let's catch it coming around again. You can see it passing those Orient Express coaches that have been the ruin of several locos. So we've cranked up the speed. So it's chugging around. One more time on the incline, which starts right there. I'm seeing no hesitation, and if you watch the Loco video, it was hesitating by itself going up there. All right, so we're gonna bring this guy around and move him to line 1 and hook him up and see how he does. Okay, I have not run this with the coaches. I just moved it over, put a little smoke fluid in it. Now, the Loco unit started dragging, and a lot of people thought, well, traction tires. The key is it wasn't spinning the wheels. It just had no oomph to pull those cars. Even with a little bit of a push, it struggled even on the flat, although it did get going, but it really struggled. And going up the incline was just not happening. So we're going to try this and see if this Märklin does better. Well, no hesitation there. All right, coming around turn 4, heading up the incline. Incline starts right here. Let's see how he handles. Oh my. All right, definitely a slowdown there. Struggle, 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 struggle. But yeah, I mean, you got to expect some slowdown, especially with the weight of these cars. But that's the best job any Loco I've run it with has done. Miles ahead of that Loco. And there we have the smoke going. All right, on the incline. Just a little bit of a slowdown, but it seems to catch itself and get going. That is by far the best any Loco I've had pull those up. And now it's in full smoker mode. Now, unfortunately, I can't do a lot of running shots here because I really need to set up for my live stream, and I'm not going to run this in my live stream. But what a difference. Now, what's interesting, and that could be dirty tractor because it seems to be smooth. It hits that section there, spins its wheels, and then it catches, and then it pulls again. So I'll be cleaning those tracks there before I try to run this in a live stream. But this is... Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slow it down. Which also slowed its speed sound down. There we go. I want to see how it handles it at slow speed with these cars. It's leaving a nice trail of smoke. Now it doesn't have the syncopated smoke that's tuned to the it's tuned to the sound of the engine. It's just a standard smoke unit. All right, going up the incline at less than half speed. But it's chugging. Oh, now see, there's that same spot I talk about. And then all of a sudden it will catch itself. And there you can see, oh, it paused again. All right, but it was not heavily straining. It's definitely struggling pulling them up. But that Loco was just absolutely unable to go up the incline at fast speed. And this was at slow speed. So I know I'm sure a lot of guys would like to see running shots, but it's too busy a week and I got to move trains around. So we're going to go back to me for a wrap up. But we'll try to get one more shot here. Okay, so we have a winner. This locomotive handled those coaches. Still a slowdown, but not nearly as drastic as with any of the other locos that I had running it. And again, you have to go back to the video of that Loco 231 that just could not get it up the incline and around at all. And then I moved it over here with just 4 cars on a short circle, and it struggled pulling. And again, I'm not hating on Loco. Loco is one of my favorite companies. I'm not even saying that particular production line is bad. It's just that model. I haven't run 20 of these, so I can't judge the line. But that particular Loco French 231, or yeah, I think it's a 231. It was not good. It was, whether it was the runt of the litter or it was a rough production line, I don't know. I can't say. I ran it on my layout. It sucked. This Märklin, on the other hand, which is based on the same locomotive in terms of chassis and motor that the Loco that these coaches go with, clearly handled it better. On a flat layout, these guys would be fine. On a soft incline, 1% to 2%, probably handles it beautifully. On my line 1 there, it had one section at fast speed, at equivalent high speed, the speed it would be traveling on the open areas, where it would slip a bit, catch itself, and go. And that could be a traction tire issue. At slow speed, after 2 good runs, it definitely struggled going up, but it got up there. It had like three or 4 places where it slipped, but it did get up there without me having to either give it a nudge or where I felt panicked. It was struggling, but it wasn't struggling where you could just sense the motor strain. It just was feeling the weight. Those coaches, for whatever reason, have a strong drag to them. I have oiled the wheels. I've checked the axles. I don't know why they are quite so heavy. This was a limited run Märklin set, and but at least 4 of the cars feel like they've got a lot of weight in them, and perhaps a previous owner put a little weight in them, and maybe that's a problem. Maybe I have to open those coaches up and see if somebody added a little weight bar or something to them, and if so, remove it, and then maybe more Locos could handle it. But as it is, the one Loco that can pull these without issue is the one Loco that did not ever run with an Orient Express. But you know what? It's a French 241. Who cares? Rivet counters can go count rivets somewhere else. I've got a Loco that looks like it can pull these and probably survive a 3-hour live stream. I will not have these on a live stream anytime soon. I've got a lot of things I want to get going on the layout once I get this project done. So anyhow, a lot of talking for little train shots. I don't have any running shots. I left them all in before this wrap up. But I'm happy with the results. This thing worked. And in the end, that's all I wanted, was a Loco that could pull these coaches. And I think I've got one. So I'm very happy with this. I know it will pull other coaches just fine. If it can, the way it pulled that group on the flat lines, it was chugging like they were nothing. Up the incline, obviously a struggle, but this is a win. So on that note, we're going to say first impressions are very good on this Loco, and it's a nice change from the failure of the previous French Loco. So, and by the way, that one is being, I haven't listed it on eBay, but it's boxed up, and I'm going to put it on eBay for sale with a link to my video. So I will be brutally honest with people of my opinion of it, and we'll see how it goes. So until the next time, I'm going to say Auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, and happy trains. Take care, everybody.